Hi, friends. Welcome back to another weekly tarot reading from Junodrome Intuitive Arts. My name is Juno, and today we're going to go through all of the zodiac signs and figure out what we can expect for the week ahead. So, how this will work, I'll break down each zodiac sign and do a mini tarot reading for each. Please watch your sun, moon, and rising signs. All three will help you triangulate what to expect for the week. If you're catching this live, you can just watch it with us. If you are watching this after the fact, you can scroll down to the description section and choose the chapter in the reading where your sun, moon, and rising signs are. Either one will work. Welcome, welcome. If you're catching this live, I will be hanging out for a minute afterward to give some little mini donation-based readings. So if you want a little mini reading, donation-based, hang out till the end for that. We're going to jump right in now to Aries and figure out what to expect. At the end of all of the zodiac signs, there will also be a collective reading to figure out what the collective needs to know this week. You can find that information as well here. So let's get started. All right, so let's just shuffle out Aries here first. What do Aries signs need to know this week? Aries, sun, moon, and rising. What can our Aries signs expect this week? Aries, sun, moon, and rising signs. Here we go. And welcome, everybody. I hope everybody's having an excellent week so far and that you've had a good weekend. We got a nice week coming up, I hope. All right. Here we go. And we'll ring one more time to start for Aries. All right, so Aries, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect for the week ahead? Well, first things first, we have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is an excellent week for you, Aries, to really tune into your ability to manifest your own stability. I think stability is going to be where your thoughts are this week, and how you can help yourself move forward this week is to really ask yourself, what can I do to encourage my own sense of stable placement here on the earth, right? So this card can talk about, money and wealth and generating wealth, being very abundant. It's a very abundant card, but it's not just about money though. It's about the physical world. So what does your life look like? What does your physical life look like? And how can you make sure that you're taking the steps this week to really build a strong foundation for yourself? Because you have the 3 of Pentacles, which can talk about building really strong foundations. So this week, I think it's going to be really asking yourself, what can I do to set myself up for the future? What steps can I be taking right here, right now, so that I can build the base steps of this pyramid for myself moving forward? How can I move myself in alignment to the position where I can keep doing these things that maybe in the moment don't feel like they are going to lead anywhere, but knowing that this is a first step towards creating something much larger, that if you continue to put in that work, that it will actually lead you somewhere. And I think that, this is a week for you to do the traditional things of that as well. This isn't about get rich quick schemes this week or anything like that. This is about doing the things that that most people do in order to build something strong for the future. And that you're not the first person to do that. You're not the first person to really take those kinds of steps and build those types of things. And that's something to keep in mind too, is that if you get lost at all this week, or you feel like you need some assistance and help with this, that you're not entirely sure how to move forward in those kinds of directions, that there is help and assistance based on how people have done things before, that maybe you can ask somebody else how they got to where they are, and that can help you with your own journey. Now, obviously your life is going to be different than other people's. There isn't always a one-to-one connection point, but this is kind of like trusting that the way that people have done things in the past could help you in this moment, surprisingly. And I think too, your perspective is going to be really important this week as well, Aries, sun, moon, and rising signs, because your perspective is really going to help you align to this whole thing as well. How are you thinking about your journey right now? How are you thinking about your life and how things are working for you? That's going to be important, because are you Are you giving yourself the permission to do the things you know you need to do? Or are you telling yourself that the small things won't work, or that nothing is working for you and that everything is terrible, right? What is the story that you're telling yourself? Because with this card, it's really asking you to take a look at the things in your life that are working, because the universe is trying to give you a gift and you're too focused on all the things that don't work or that aren't what you want them to be. And so take some time this week to kind of like try to get out of, if you're getting stuck in these thought processes where you're feeling so pushed in that kind of thinking, try to break yourself out of that as much as you can, so that you can think about things from a more open perspective, because there's real gifts coming to you in this moment, but they're coming out of the box. They're not necessarily something that seems obvious. And so it's going to take some time to really take a look and think about them in order to bring that into your world. Finally, you have the Justice card. So there's real balance coming to you as well. I think as you focus on the stability of your life and doing things from that place of trying to build in something real and stable into your life, I think that the more that you do that this week, the more that you put yourself in a really balanced position moving forward, that will then be reciprocated in your life moving forward as well. That if you build that strong foundation, you will be thanking yourself in the future. And so this is a real, maybe future focused week for you. Not necessarily, I must get to this place, but just sort of like, okay, I have the time and the ability this week to really start to think about what are some steps that I can do to build in something positive for my future, and how can I bring that into my life right now? How can I take some of those steps and build some of those actions, so that once I get to that place, I'm meeting myself from a really positive place and I'm not forced to move in any direction that's not working for me. So anyway, Aries, that was my reading for you. That was for Aries, sun, moon, and rising signs. I hope that it resonates. Feel free to let me know in the chat or in the comments, depending on when you're watching this. Love hearing from everybody. What did that make you think of? Does it resonate for your life or not? And if it doesn't really resonate for your life, please do make sure to listen to your sun, moon, and rising signs. There's wisdom in all three, so take a look at all of them. And we're going to move on now. If you would like a private reading from me, they are available on my website. You can find information in the description or by going to www.junodrome.com. I'd be happy to give you those. I have many different options, so go ahead and check that out. We're going to move on now to Taurus. All right, so Taurus, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect for the week ahead? Well, Taurus, first up, you have the High Priestess card. So this is going to be a week for you of really tuning into your intuition, the connection between you and the greater, whatever you want to say, the universe, God, spirituality, your own subconscious, the deeper inner forces. This is going to be a week of tuning into those types of things. There's something really important for you in doing that kind of work, because I think you're going to gain some really important insights. So really take some time to yourself this week to go off into some quiet places, to really allow yourself to allow in anything that needs to come in, any of those kinds of wisdom places, the wisdom of the universe. It's wanting to come in, and it's the kind of thing that is quiet and subtle. Right. So if you're getting really lost, particularly if you feel like you're getting lost in any kind of anxiety energy, this is about letting in the quiet voices of calm and peace, and that will help you maybe connect out of, or get out of this kind of disconnection energy and connect back into the greater universal whole. This is going to be a really important week for you to do that kind of work. So really take some time for that. And I think as you do that, I think what that does is it gives you the sun energy here with the sun. This is about bright new days. This is about optimism and happiness and joy. And so I think by connecting into your own intuitive forces, you allow yourself to see that optimism and that brightness, and to connect into that, and maybe get out of any kind of energy or feelings where that's not possible or that's not the case, right? So take some time to really connect into that sunshine energy, into your own intuitive forces. The more that you do that, I think that helps reawaken some important things for you. As you do that, as you get into those like bright, sunny, optimistic moments within yourself this week, and really taking advantage of that, right? So if something's coming in where you're feeling good, be present with it. Let it come into your life and feel really good in the moment. The more that you can do that, the more that you allow in that kind of energy, the more that you feel inspired to take some steps towards something new too. This is the Page of Wands, so this is about inspiration and feeling inspired towards your own life and your own passions and your own joys. So take some time for that this week, of really allowing yourself to have that inner moment. And I think that, like, the more time that you can take to connect into your own intuitive self, your own feelings of joy and positivity and possibility, the more that you can do that, the more that it connects you into this moment of feeling as though things are possible, a feeling as though you can make things happen, a feeling as though you have the ability to move and change and do whatever you want, that you allow in that idea and that possibility by going within, by taking some time to yourself, by clearing out whatever is maybe blocking you, so that you can listen to the inner voice, because that inner voice is trying to guide you in a new direction and open you up to something bright and beautiful and different. And so now is a time for you to really connect into that energy. Finally, you have the Eight of Wands, which is about swift, fast moving energy. So I think that if you do this work, if you allow yourself to tune into your intuition and allow yourself to flow in those positive directions, I think the more that you do that, the more you're going to feel this speed of action so that you can finally move forward. I don't have any cards showing stuck energy here, but I'm getting the intuitive feeling that maybe a few of my Tauruses out there have been feeling a little bit stuck. And so in order to get into this like speedy movement energy again, it really is about tuning into that intuitive force and connecting into your own inner voice and your own inner wisdom and guidance. The more that you can tune into that this week, the more that you'll feel yourself speeding into this new direction, this new positive place towards it, whatever is passionate and renewed energy, to help you move forward. So anyway, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising signs, I hope that that was helpful. I hope you have an excellent week ahead. We got Kristen in the chat. Hello, Kristen. Welcome. Kristen says, wow, Taurus rising. I took my daughter out of school this week to homeschool because there were some things I just could not abide by. Since then, I've been validated every day by that this was the choice, the correct choice for both of us. And rather than being scared, we're both getting excited to do and learn how we want. This was so spot on. We've had so many people reach out for support, even with all the logistics of how this works. Wow, Kristen, that is so great. I'm really happy that, you know, you're able to make a decision for your family in a way that makes sense for you guys, and you feel really positive about it, and you feel like it's going to work in a really good way. And I really do wish you the best. I hope that it works out really well and that you can create a really good system, and a really good education and all the things that you need to do with that. So, you know, I'm wishing you luck and I hope it works out. That's really, it sounds a little bit challenging, but also kind of exciting, and maybe some good opportunities. So that's great. All right. So we're going to move on now. Okay, so Gemini, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect this week? Well, Geminis, you have the Fool. So let's talk about that right away. This is a brand new beginning for you. This is a new opportunity and a new time for you to do whatever, right? This is about primordial starting energy, the zero. Think about zero in general, that it's like this really open number. It's the absence of things, and with the absence, you have opportunity to fill with whatever. And I think that this week is going to be a really powerful opportunity for you if you allow yourself to feel it. If you allow yourself to think about this as an option, an opportunity, a creation of something new, this is a moment where you can bring into your own life the possibilities of something new and different and creative. That you have the ability to make anything happen for yourself, to bring in anything, to do anything, to create anything. And there's a really a wonderful opportunity for that here this week. Now, the thing about the Fool card that's important to remember is sometimes he can be blind in his walking towards something new. And so that's something to keep in mind as you start something different. Just know that you don't know everything that will happen. And that can be a scary thing, but it can also be a really positive thing. It can be a real opportunity as you move forward to create and bring new things into the world. So just because you don't know everything that's happening, that doesn't mean that things will happen in a bad way, or that, nothing positive will happen or work. Just know that you do have the power to create anything. And that even if you don't know everything that's coming up ahead, that doesn't mean that this isn't the time to start new things and to move forward. And you might meet setbacks if you're starting a new journey. And just keep that in mind. But that those setbacks are not the end all be all, and that challenges are a part of any journey. And so if you make it towards any kind of challenges going on, just know that you can create a balance for yourself. Look at this person on a balance beam here. You can do that. Now, with the Seven of Cups, this talks about opportunities. This talks about options, having a lot of options ahead of you. And sometimes those options can be overwhelming. You might feel as though you have too many options and you don't know how to move forward because there's too much. There's too many possibilities. So if that's the case, just know that you have the power to navigate that, and you have the power to navigate any kind of indecision, and you can still create something powerful and different for yourself moving forward, even if it feels as though there's too many options, right? So just choose something that works for you, and that'll work. And what do you choose? You have a new start, a new beginning in the heart, in the emotions. So choose the thing that makes you feel good. Choose the thing that's going to make you happy, and follow that happiness and that heart energy as you move forward. Follow your heart here, and do the things and take the steps that are going to help you feel as though you can make things happen. You can do things because you really can. With that creative energy here, this new start is really powerful. This is a very, very powerful card. For it to be a new beginning, like there's many, excuse me, sorry, there's many new beginnings energy cards in the tarot. There's so many new beginning cards. But the thing about the Fool is it's one of the major arcana, so it's a more powerful card, and it's the primordial beginning. So this is the beginning of a very, very powerful and important journey. And so the steps that you're taking right now are bigger. They're more important. This is like finally doing the thing you've always dreamed of. This is about creating the thing you really want to do. So take those steps and run with it. Use this energy to fuel you in the direction that you need to create something really, really primordially powerful and impactful moving forward. So you have that opportunity here. Finally, you have the Queen of Wands, and she is the master manifester. She can create anything for herself. She makes all things happen. So with this card, this is about admitting to yourself, interesting word choices. Yeah, I guess we'll run with it. Admitting to yourself that you can make anything happen, right? And that sometimes it's like the most powerful thing in our way sometimes is ourselves, and the voice telling us that we can't do things, the insecurity showing up in our moments and in our lives, telling us that we're incapable, or we can't do something, or it's impossible for us, or blah, 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 blah. This is kind of reminding you that actually that's not the case, that you do have real power and real control here in your own life, and you can make anything happen. You really can. So take the time for that. Take the time to realize that you can take the steps to bring in the things that you want for yourself, and you don't have to feel as though you can't do it. And don't listen to the voice in your head telling yourself you can't, because you can. So take those steps and run with it, roll with it. So anyway, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, I hope that that's helpful. I hope that you have an excellent week ahead. Please do look at your Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. All three are going to help you triangulate what to expect for the week. So your Sun, Moon, and Rising signs will all connect together to give you a good picture. Now, some people have multiple signs in multiple places. So if you have multiples in your Sun and Moon, or your Rising, or all three, even a stellium, that's okay too. You might find some interesting messages in some other places here too. So feel free to play around and look at whatever. And there's a collective reading at the end as well that you can watch too. So we're going to move on now. All right. So next up, we have Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. What can you expect for the week ahead? Let's take a look. So for my Cancer signs, this is interesting. Taurus got this as well. So this is probably going to be an important collective message. But this is a big week for building a strong foundation. I think this week we're taking the time to really build things up. So, what can you do to build powerful, positive things up into your life? What steps can you take to help create something important and impactful for yourself? What can you do to help build strong foundations for yourself to move forward? This is a really important week for that. This is an important week for asking yourself, what can you do to create something in your physical day-to-day life that will help you into the future? What steps can you take right now that will help build something really strong and powerful later on? This is about doing that. A lot of times, too, this is about connecting in with other people as well, building something with others. So, how can you connect to and create the community around you that you need to help all each other move forward in the future as well? That this isn't just about you, this is about building strong bridges with your community and using that strong bridge to help all of you move forward into the future. So I do think community building is going to be really important for you this week as well, Cancer. So who are some like-minded people around you that you can connect in with and help yourself moving forward? We've got the Page of Cups. Actually, you got two pages. So this is some more powerful new beginnings energy that's been coming up a lot this week as well, for different signs. So with these two pages, this is a powerful week of creating something new for yourself, of taking the steps to learn how to do things differently and try new things. I think especially as you're building this strong foundation for your future, what can you do to try things differently, to play it a little different? And you don't have to totally change everything in your life, but this could be approaching certain things from a new way and creating something different into your life that might not be what you expect. So that's kind of important to keep in mind as well. With the Page of Cups, this is an important moment for you to ask yourself, what are some things that you can do to make yourself happy? And really ask yourself that. What do you need for your own happiness and your own emotional fulfillment? This is a good week for you to start learning how to do that differently. That maybe there are some steps that you've been taking that are keeping you from your own happiness. And this might be a good week for you to really take a look inward and start journeying inward to figure that out. Figure out what will make me happy. What are some steps I can do? And if I'm not there yet, how can I build the foundation and the work that so that in the future I can have that kind of happiness? With the Page of Swords, this is a moment for you to start thinking about things differently as well. So what in your own personal perspective is keeping you feeling locked and blocked? What can you do to change your perspective so that in the future you are in a position of being more open-minded? Where is your thought process holding you back? Where are the assumptions that you're making about your life and about your situation that aren't true? And how can you change those assumptions? How can you challenge your own inner assumptions by learning how to think about things differently? The more that you can ask yourself those things this week, the more that you open yourself up to this ability of feeling positive and feeling possible, and you open up all of the possibilities so that you can move forward from something new and different. Finally, you have the Two of Wands. So I think that this week you really are going to be challenged to decide what direction you want to move. This is about being at a crossroads and having to move forward from this place and needing to choose a direction, right? And remember, even not choosing a direction will ultimately be a choice as well. So you are being challenged to make some really positive choices for yourself. At least not necessarily positive. I mean, but personally, I think you should make some positive choices, but you have to make some kind of choice. How do you want to move forward, and do it consciously? Because if you can do it consciously, then you know where you are, you know where you're moving, and you know how you end up where you go. By leaving your decisions to the unconscious, it it makes it so that you lose some of the agency that you actually have over your life. And you always have agency over your life, but when you give that agency up to unconscious decision making, it prevents you from being able to move forward from a place of confidence, and it keeps you maybe held back in certain areas without realizing it. So really, I challenge you to consciously make choices this week and really make sure that you are choosing the things for yourself that you know you want to, at least consciously, even if it's not something that you feel that you want, but you're making a conscious decision because you're trying to be strategic or whatever. That's fine too. Just make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing and move in a direction where you feel as though you feel confident in making those kinds of choices for yourself. So anyway, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Please do check out all three, your Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, to figure out what you can expect for the week ahead. We're going to move on. If you would like a private reading from me, they are available on my website. You can find information in the description or by going to www.junodrome.com. I've got many options available there, so you can check that out. We're going to move on now to Leos. Check out your Sun, Moon, and Rising signs to get a good picture of what to expect for the week. After those, we'll get into the collective, and then if there's a little bit of time left over, I will maybe open the floor to some mini personal readings as well. So let's take a look here. Okay, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. What can you expect for the week ahead? Well, Leo, just like everybody else, one of the biggest themes so far is new beginnings energy and taking a new start. So for you, you're being challenged this week to think about things from a new perspective, to learn how to change your thinking patterns. Because honestly, it's important to remember this, one of the spiritual axioms that goes around and that I personally really subscribe to is as above, so below, right? That the inner world and the outer world reflect one another, that the tiny and the huge are manifestations of one another, right? And so because of that, with the inner world reflecting the outer world, it shows that our inner landscape is what we have control over. Our outer landscape, we have no control over. And even though, we have control, I think is a strong word. It's not necessarily what I mean, but you do have the ability to change your actions and your reactions to situations. You can't control what is happening outside of you, but you can control how you navigate the world and how you think about things. That you can alter that inner landscape, and it takes time to cultivate the ability to do that. But you're being challenged, Leo, to be able to do that. Layla, welcome. Hey, you caught this week's live. I'm excited. So yeah, you have the ability to be able to do that, and with that option, it's important to remember, Leo, that you can change the way that you think about things. Now, like I said, that's not necessarily something that you can do overnight, but that's the thing about the page is this is student energy, right? This is learning. So you don't have to be super hard on yourself for not having the perfect inner landscape, right? Like that's not none of us do, first of all, and perfection is subjective and false in my opinion anyway. But you have the option here to learn how to think about things differently. That if you don't like the way that you're talking to yourself, you don't have to leave it at that. And this is about developing mindfulness practices. Actually, personally, the page of swords to me, and swords in general, are all about the mind and the inner landscape. And it always makes me think about mindfulness because it can be some of the most important ways we have the tools. It's a very important tool that we have as people that have been developed over thousands and thousands of years. Mindfulness, it's not something that's new, even though it's kind of a buzzword right now in our culture. I mean, it's an ancient practice grounded in Buddhism that goes back thousands of years, and longer than that too. I mean, the Buddha took from ancient Indian practices and from all over the Indian subcontinent. So it's important to remember that these practices are not new. That as people, we have learned ways to navigate this inner challenge, this inner landscape, and that inner thoughts landscape is something that is not new or unique to you, that it's something that we as human beings have been working with our entire existence, and that you have the ability to learn how to change your thought process and your thinking patterns. So this week might be a great moment for you to do that. And I think, with the seven of swords, I think it's important to remember sometimes where those terrible thoughts that we have about ourselves and our what do you call it, our inner insecurities and our own anxieties, and sometimes that can come from the outer world too. And remember, like I said, the inner and outer world reflect one another. Who is talking to you, and how are they speaking to you? Especially with the seven of swords, it's are are you the one, those thoughts, those negative thoughts in your head, are those really you? With mindfulness techniques and with Buddhism personally, they can they teach us the idea that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind your thoughts. That the thinking is it's just a mechanism. It's a mechanism that goes and goes. And we as people usually identify with that mechanism. We think that inner voice is us, but it's just a voice. And where is that voice coming from? And as you start to break some things down, especially like therapy can be incredibly helpful for this too, not just mindfulness practice, but actual therapy is really great for breaking this stuff down too, which if you need it, I will say, as someone who's gone through therapy, it's very, very very, very helpful, very important. I'm personally not a psychologist or a licensed therapist, so I can't speak on these kinds of things legally. This is entertainment value here. But I can at least recommend that it can be really important to help you if you're in that moment. Now, what's important to remember with this card in particular, it's asking yourself, well, where is this story coming from? This story that you're telling yourself may come from outside of you, right? It might not even be you at all. And that it's stuff that we've learned, we pick up from our families, we pick up from people around us, the people that put us down. And sometimes we can just repeat this script without realizing it, or we can be in the opposite of that. We could be rebelling against a voice, that rebellion itself is an unconscious thing that's forcing us down a road we also don't want to go down, right? So I mean, it just depends. But by starting to practice mindfulness, you start to break down what some of those voices are, and you start to learn how to think about things from a different perspective. And I do think that you're being encouraged to do that type of work this week as you start to break down some of these narratives that maybe are not yours. And as you can start to do that too, this inner and outer world reflecting one another thing, I think is really big for you this week, Leo, because the Temperance card, it talks about transmuting negative forces by mixing things together, and that sometimes you can mix two. I mean, you know, there's the saying, two wrongs don't make a right, but this is almost negating that. This card is almost the opposite of that. It's kind of saying like, sure, two wrongs don't make a right, but maybe two wrongs can show you the path to rightness. Does that make sense? That there's a way that you can mix some things and navigate some situations in your life that maybe seemingly don't feel great, right? But that they can be navigated in such a way that you can bring in something really balanced and wonderful into your life out of those kinds of situations. But it takes having the perspective and the courage to think about it from that different perspective. And that's not always easy, right? And it's the thing that a lot of people get hung up on, and it's important to keep in mind. It's not that this is saying like, oh, this thing had to happen, like bad things had to happen to me so that I could become better. Like, that's not necessarily something that's helpful or beneficial, and taken to the extreme can actually be really quite harmful. um Instead of thinking it like that, it's more like bad things happen in life, right? Things we don't want will continue to happen. And that's kind of an inevitability of existence. And we should fight to stop suffering in this world. Personally, I want to try to do that myself. I think we should all do that, that should be one of the goals of humanity. But suffering continues to exist in this reality, and it will continue as much as we can try our hardest to alleviate it, to stop it, to work on it. So it's not to say that it's necessary or needed, because no, I'm not saying that at all, but it is here And so because it is here, we have to learn how to work with it. We have to learn how to navigate it. And we have to learn how to bring something positive into our life, regardless of it, because that is resilience. And that is how we build strong foundations for ourselves to be able to move through reality, because it is such a harsh reality sometimes, because terrible things happen sometimes. That's not the only thing that exists. And so if we get hung up on just that, it brings us to this point where we don't believe that there's real things possible. And that type of thinking, that kind of nihilistic thinking, can really bring us down and stop us from fighting and moving forward. And so to keep that resilience within, to burning understanding that things are possible, that change will happen, that movement is here. That can be what this Temperance card can talk about. Finally, you have the Knight of Swords. So there's movement in the mind, in the mental sphere for you this week, Leo. And I think that's really important with that Page of Swords. So really allow yourself to shift in your thinking. It's a great moment for that. It's a great moment to learn how to do things differently, to learn how to think about things differently, maybe new knowledge, introducing new knowledge, learning new skills, learning new information about your life or about life in general or about anything. Introducing new information to your life right now could be really key in helping you move forward from a new and open place. So Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, I hope that was helpful. We're going to move on now. Kristen in the chat says, I literally meditated this morning for the first time in a few weeks to bring myself towards myself in a funny way. Life is lifing. We're all just getting through, and let's make it as happy as possible. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I hope your meditation session was really good. I've been trying to get back into it myself. I'm actually a licensed mindfulness meditation teacher, so I am hoping to get into doing more of that soon as well. I'd like to start a group practice going eventually. I'm considering starting another channel around meditation work. The way that YouTube works, it really doesn't like it when you mix things together. Kristen says, sign me up. All right, cool. I don't know, but it's interesting. I'm really I took 2 weeks off, as you guys have seen, and I'm really starting to rethink this channel in general. I don't like my long form content. I went back and looked at some of the things I've been editing in, like a kind of a quick style to try to gain attention. And I realized that I'm just focused on the algorithm and like numbers, and I'm not focused on actually bringing in real good solid content. I'm proud of my shorts readings. I think the shorts are actually pretty good. But my long form content I don't like right now. So I'm trying to rethink what I can do to create something that might be more of value than I think what I'm currently creating. I don't know. I mean, you guys let me know in the comments here, especially if you're watching this live, what you think about my long form videos. Especially like Layla, if you're watching, let me know. You're a real long time listener. Like, what do you think about the quality of the long form videos from the past years versus where I'm at right now? I don't know. It feels different. Like I don't like where I'm at right now, basically. So I'm trying to think about things differently for myself and do something different with the channel. I mean, obviously this is a tarot channel and I'm going to keep that part of it alive. But maybe I might just go back to faceless pick a card readings where I don't edit them at all and just put them out and see how that goes again. I'm not sure. Kristen says, the shorts are great. You'll work it out. I love the messages from the trees, etc. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, honestly, I love those too. I think that those are kind of my favorites, those kind of deep nature ones. I think I'm going to do less editing. The editing takes a really long time, and I think that the quick editing style I've developed for the shorts that I kind of put into the long form, I don't think it works. I think that it creates a very frenetic energy, which is the complete opposite of what this type of content should be. It should be way more relaxed and bringing in a positive, peaceful energy. And I think that it doesn't feel peaceful at all. So I have to figure that one out. But yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're going to move on now. After Leo is Virgo. So let's continue on there. Kristen says, yeah, but now that you know it, it'll get easier. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm excited to try some more peaceful minded content. And I might even do like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, here we go. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect from the week ahead? Well, for you, oh, interesting. Okay, you got the Fool too. Interesting. This card does not come out very often, but it has already come out twice this week. So it's really important, I think, for the collective. The thing about the Fool, this is primordial beginnings energy. It's a new beginning, but there's many new beginning and cards in the tarot. This one is kind of the most powerful, the most important. This is, like I said, primordial new beginnings. And with that kind of primordial energy, it's giving this idea that there's an opening here for creating something different and doing something from a new way in a new perspective that's bigger than anything you've done before. It's about the beginning of the hero's journey. This is like setting forth on an epic mission. Think Lord of the Rings, right? Like the Fellowship of the Ring. They're starting out to do this incredible journey, and they really don't know what's up ahead of them. And in fact, crazy and insane things are opened up to them because they don't know what's happening, and something amazing and powerful and scary and challenging. It comes with all of those. It comes with good, it comes with bad. And so, Virgo, I think that this week you're starting to set off on this new journey where you don't know what's coming up ahead. You might be about to fall off a cliff. Usually that's what it's depicted, a person who's stepping off of a cliff, to represent this like falling into something that you don't even know. And that's scary. And, yeah, it's going to put you through some challenges. But at the end of it, you build into this strong, incredible, amazing thing that is so necessary, so needed, so huge. So really take those giant leaps this week, even though it might be scary, and even it might lead you to some difficult situations in the short term. But in the long term, it's going to lead you to this really powerful and important place that I think you need to get to. So don't be afraid to make those big choices and those big jumps this week. You are the King of Swords here. So you are very clear-headed and very analytical. So use your analysis and your tools of analytical prowess. Use those to cut through all of the noise and push yourself forward, that you can think about things clearly. You can move forward from whatever place you're in. You can create anything for yourself. And there's an importance in remembering that and realizing that you have the tools at your disposal to create life, to create joy, to create positivity and possibilities, that you can do that you have the power to do anything. And keep that in mind. With the Seven of Swords, it's reminding you not to listen to the naysayers in your life. There could be a lot of people out there telling you not to do something, or that you shouldn't do it this way, or that that's not what people like you do, or whatever, right? Don't listen to those kind of voices. And those could be coming from inside of you as well, right? This could be the voice in your head telling you like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't do that. Or that's not supposed to be for me. Blah, 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 right? Don't listen to those voices this week, right? And just acknowledge that those might be there, right? And that you can still have those voices in your head telling yourself you're not worthy, but you can still do it anyway, right? And just pushing through those negative voices and pushing through and making it happen. The more that you can do that, the more that that it'll help you. I think that this will help you a lot, and I think that it's gonna help you move forward, right? I think that it'll help you feel more positive, help you feel as though you can create anything for yourself, by pushing past those and reminding yourself that even if people are telling yourself you can't, even if you are telling yourself you can't, that doesn't mean that you can't, right? That those voices in your head don't have to be real. You don't have to listen to them. You can have them and not listen, right? Finally, you have the Justice card. So I think that the steps and decisions that you make right now are really going to help put you in a powerful position moving forward. So have confidence in yourself and choose those decisions, that you're acting from a place of real karmic justice and balance for yourself as well. With this Justice card, this is like, this is the choices, especially with this primordial energy. Like, this is like fate energy. This is about choosing, the important things for your fate. So the new steps that you're ready and willing to take, this is fated. This is like your life's journey, your life's path. This is what you're supposed to do. There's no supposed to. It's like you have free will. You can choose anything, but it's like you're aligning yourself with your larger cosmic self this week in a way that's really powerful. pushing past the fear and connecting in and really making things happen. I think the more that you can do that this week, the more that you're going to be in a position to really help yourself moving forward. And it'll be reciprocated in a really powerful and profound way for you. So Virgo, sun, moon, and rising signs. I hope that that's helpful. Please do watch your sun, moon, and rising signs. All three will help you triangulate what to expect for the week. We're going to move on. Layla said, I personally always loved the yes or no, but on the pick a card, I believe there was a time you did only 3 cards on the pick a card. Maybe that's that. Okay, yeah, maybe. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think 3 is fine, or do you think like 4 is better? You're right, though. There was a time when I think the channel was really working well, like way back when, and I was doing like 3 and they were long. Like I was doing like 20-minute readings, and those were popular, surprisingly. Instead of doing like, it's tough. Like less is more, Kristen says. Yeah, I might even just get back into doing that. And especially like I think doing some like real dedicated longer readings are really good too. Like they feel the best to do. And I think that what I've been getting in the way of is the editing, honestly, like because the editing takes so much time. And I do think the editing works really well on the yes or no's. So maybe what I might do is continue trying to do, either an every other kind of deal, a yes or no, and a long one, or if I can figure it out, doing 2 a week again, where I can do like a long form 3 card or three pick a card piles of long unedited, like even like unedited, like upper view, long. Yes, 3 felt better, definitely, and they're surely easier to edit. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. And I'm thinking of even doing some faceless ones again, because those can be popular too. And not all will be faceless. Like I think that the yes or no's, I really do like the way that I've been doing it, where you can see everything. But then maybe the 3 pile, I'll do just an overhead view, and we'll do really like incense and candles and very like meditative and peaceful, and then we'll just do the readings that way. And I think I'll be able to get much deeper into the readings that way, and maybe give some more powerful, profound messages with just one overhead view, one full length video, and just record it that way. I'm going to experiment with that. I think this week I'm going to try it and see how that goes, and then we'll see. And then I think too, it's hard because the algorithm is like, it doesn't really it's different. It's much different now than it used to be when I started. And so trying to find that balance has been tricky for me, but I've noticed that I'm just kind of chasing it instead of just making things. And I think I just have to make things and have the confidence that they'll lead wherever they lead, and that they'll find who they need to find, because the shorts are very popular and are going out to a lot of people. So I can focus that as my like algorithmic growth or whatever, and then just make the long form content, the real spiritual work, because that's ultimately what this is for. As much as I am trying to build a career out of this as well. I mean, I want to be very open about that, but at the same time, this is also an act of service too, and creating these spiritual messages for the collective, from spirit, is a big part of what I'm trying to do. So I like that idea. Um, Kristen says, totally love the yes or no being face to face, but I think where you're going with this sounds great. Totally hear you saying chase it rather than creating it. Yeah, but you're doing so well. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. That's a nice comment. Layla, yes, make what feels best to you and let it flow. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I appreciate thanks for listening and talking it through. It's tricky doing this channel. It's interesting, like how much things have changed and where things are. Kristen, you're letting us into the process, and I appreciate that. Yeah, well, I mean, and like, I mean, that's the whole thing about this, is like I'm doing these videos too for community building, and yeah, we're all your homies essentially. I think so, and I really appreciate that. That's what this is about, especially as a small channel. Like I am trying to grow it, and so you guys are here with me on this journey, and I appreciate that a lot. So thank you. Um, yeah, I think it's interesting. I will say that the shorts have been really, really popular, and some of them have gotten really big. So I've passed the views counts that I had at the very beginning when I first started this channel. I think in the first 3 months, about 3 months in, I got an incredible amount of attention, and I got lots and lots of views, and things went really, really up. And then it was hard for me to maintain that. And then I went down and kind of flatlined for a long time. So that huge spike, that first growth spike, was always kind of like what I was chasing to try to get back. And a month ago, I did make it actually. We blew past it with some of the shorts content. So that's incredible. It does show me that this is a viable thing. It's moving forward. And I've gotten some private readings from some different people recently, so that's great too. Like it's happening, but it's slow, and it's a slow growth thing, and I can't break it by pushing too hard, and that's kind of what I'm running into right now. So yeah, so it was a good a good 2 weeks off to think about things. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody so much for being so supportive. So thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna move on now. That was just Virgo. So next up we have Libra. Okay, Libra, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect this week? All right, Libra. Uh-oh, it says my headphones are connected. Let me just disconnect that real quick because you might not be able to hear me at all. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. Hello. Welcome back. Can you hear me? Their sounds. Okay, great. We're back. All right, that was scary. I guess you can refresh the stream just for future reference. I did not do that 2 weeks ago when it broke that time. Technology is horrible sometimes, but you can refresh it now that you know. I guess what happened is my headphones connected, the microphone stopped the sound, and then if you change the audio settings, you have to refresh the whole thing for it to work. So Welcome back, everybody. All right, we're going to start over with that one. All right. So, Libra, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect this week? Well, we're connecting into the queen's energy for you. You have three queens, which is pretty intense, right? So, let's talk about queen energy. This is all about being in the divine feminine, being in the receptive mode. So, this is not a week for really pushing and pulling things out and really trying to make things happen from that masculine drive energy. This is about allowing things to come to you, particularly like ideas and inspiration and understanding. So the more that you can just allow yourself to be open to letting things come to you, to thinking about things differently, I think you're going to have a lot of new ideas and inspirations and understandings, and maybe even connections, that there's things in life that are ready to come to you instead of you putting things out. So if you can open yourself up to that receptive mode, that's going to be incredibly helpful for you. Now, you've got these three queens and they're talking about different things. So let's get into it. With the Queen of Wands, this is a master manifestation energy. She's able to make everything and anything happen for herself and pull in whatever. So this is an important week for you to remember that you are manifesting the things that you want. And remember that manifestation work, sometimes it takes imagination, right? It takes putting out ideas of what you would like and really thinking about things from that. Now, obviously you can't just sit around and wait for everything to happen. There will need to be action, but this is not an action week. This is about the planning stage, the dreaming stage. Maybe start a journal, start what is that, vision board, right? Just throw things out there. Really imagine all the things that you want. It's actually very new moon energy, and I think a new moon just happened. I can't remember when the new moon is. If you know in the chat, go ahead and let me know. I can't remember when the new moon is. I just know we have a new moon around right now. It's either already happened or it's about to happen. But with that new moon energy, that's about opening yourself up to ideas of what is possible, of really, dreaming of all the things you want and writing them all down. I think if you can do that work this week, it was on the 28th. Okay, yeah. So we just had it a few days ago. If you can open yourself up to all of the possibilities of what you'd like and allow those to flow into your life, it opens up your ability to make things happen. So really, this is a great week for just imagining all the possibilities, letting yourself dream of all that you want and letting that dream help move you forward. I think that that's going to be really big. Now you have the Queen of Swords. So she is not afraid to take the steps and the actions to cut things out of her life as well. As much as this is about dreaming about letting things in, this is also about realizing that, sometimes we have to make space for those things to flow in, and not being afraid to let go of things that are no longer working. She's really open to thinking about things from a very clear-headed and analytical perspective of saying, you know what, this isn't working. This is what I want. This isn't what I want. And, not being afraid to do that. Now, sometimes she can be judged for having that perspective from the outside world. Sometimes people think that's harsh, but honestly, you're living your life here, and that's what's most important to remember. That those other people, they don't know what's going on in your life the way that you do, and you need to take some steps for yourself. And this is an important week for doing that, of really allowing yourself to have the courage to take the steps you need to make for you in order to move forward. Now, your final queen is the Queen of Cups. So she's a very deeply compassionate person, and she shares her compassion with everyone. She's very deeply feeling. She feels all of her feelings. It can be very emotional sometimes as well, and those emotions are really hard to deal with sometimes. Emotions aren't always happy, right? We go through all the emotions, and we have to allow ourselves to feel all of our feelings in order to move through them and to let things go and to become what we need to on the other side of it. And so, this week might be a week of you feeling some challenging emotions, but just feel them. Don't try to block them. Feel everything you need to feel and share that compassion with yourself for being able to do that. If you need to create a space for yourself where you're alone to do your own feelings and your own thinking and to flow through things from there, the more that you can do that, the more that you're going to feel happy and you're going to feel possible and you're going to feel the positive possibilities. It's a really good week for that. So open yourself up to that idea, because it's time for that. It's time for being able to feel really good and really happy about yourself, and let that flow in. Let that work be what it needs to be. Finally, you have the Knight of Cups. So this is about movement in the emotional sphere as well. So your emotions are going to be really big and important this week, Libra. So feel all you need to feel, even if it's a challenging emotion. Being able to let that well up and flow out of you and to flow past things, I think is going to be really, really helpful in the long run. So just let yourself do that. Feel all you need to feel, because it's going to open up a lot of inner space for you on the other end of that, to allow in all the things that are ready to come into your life, so that you can make some moves and make some changes that might be important and necessary. So Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, that was my reading for you. We're going to move on. Layla says, I actually need to make my vision board for this year, and now is the perfect time. Yeah, perfect time for it. Go ahead and do that. I think that the more that you can do that, I think the more you allow yourself to allow in all the new things that want to come into your life. Okay, so we're going to move on now. If you would like a personal reading with me, a private reading, they are available on my website. You can find information by going to junodrome.com, or down in the description section, I have links to that. Please do check out your sun, moon, and rising signs here this week. All three will give you a triangulation of what to expect. Some people have multiple signs in multiple places, and if that's the case for you, that's okay too. Maybe that might just be a more powerful reading for you, or you might find information in some of the other signs as well. We all have all the signs kind of in different places, so maybe look at your Jupiter, maybe look at your Saturn, who knows, right? Look at your Venus placements. There could be important information in other spots too in this reading that might be beyond rising, but just so you know. Okay, we're going to move on now. Let's get into the next one. All right, so next up after that was Libra. Did I get these out of order? No, I didn't. That was Libra. Now we have Scorpio. Okay. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising signs. What do my Scorpios need to know? All right. Scorpio, this is a rest week for you. First message, important. Oh, Kristen says, I swear everything in my personal reading is taking place and I feel great about it. I hope you keep doing them. Oh, great. I will absolutely keep the personal readings going. Absolutely. Whether or not they can be my sole income right now, probably not. But I'm going to continue to build the business and hope for the best. So spread the word. Okay. So Scorpio, this is a rest moment for you. So with that means that take a break. Take a break. This is not a week to push. This is a week to let things flow and to take some time for yourself to get enough sleep. Sleep is really, really important. And it's one of the first things that we usually sacrifice when we're trying to make something happen, or we're trying to go out and do stuff or whatever. Sleep is one that's really easy to be like, I don't need enough sleep, but the more that you lack the right amount of sleep, the more that things can start to get screwed up in your life. So really, go to bed early this week. If you can do it every single day this week, you might just catch back up on your sleep. And that might be the exact thing that you never knew you needed, but actually needed more than anything, right? So take some time for that this week. Get enough rest. It's, I know I sound like a grandma, but it's important. So this week, as you're resting, I think that you'll start to understand some things a little bit better. You got the Two of Swords and you got the Devil card. So let's talk about these two together. Actually, I think they go together right now. The Two of Swords talks about not knowing which way to move forward, that you have two paths diverging ahead of you and you don't know which way to go. You could go this way, you go that way. And I think that the Devil card is what's getting in the way here, of being able to decide how to move forward. That it's really tempting maybe for you to fall back on bad habits, to do things that are familiar, even though they're not what's best for you, right? Sometimes it's really hard to change our habits because we just know what to expect from them, even though what we can expect is bad, right? And that maybe things would be way, way, way better if you chose to do things differently. But because of this bad habit energy, it's keeping you stuck, keeping you tied into past ways of doing things that maybe no longer apply, maybe would not help you in the long run, maybe won't be what you want in forever, right? And so, with this card, it's kind of saying like, don't necessarily choose the thing that is easiest because you know what to expect out of it. And I think that's what's coming up here. And so that's where I think the sleeping on it is important too, is that maybe you have more time to make this choice than you think you do. So maybe just take some time to sleep on it a little bit more as you figure things out. Because I think in the long run, you'll be able to make whatever choices you need to make from a more calm and collected position than maybe you're giving yourself credit for right now. It's just important to keep that in mind. Now, this is an important week for you as well to maybe get some help from the outside world. Yeah, because you've got the Six of Pentacles, which is about asking for help a lot, and then you have the Three of Cups, which is about celebrating with friends. So I think that there are some voices out there who can help you move forward. That there's somebody else's opinions and ideas that could be actually really helpful in your current situation. So go out and ask your friends for advice this week. I think that if you allow yourself to do that, if you allow yourself to get some advice from others, that could help you understand how to move forward as well. That maybe somebody else's understanding of things could help you realize a new way to move forward that might not be this thing. You might be thinking this is a black and white either or situation, but that might be a false dichotomy. And so if you can get some ideas and thought processes from other people, some perspectives of someone that's not you, someone who's outside of your situation, I think that might help you in the long run be able to move forward from a more positive place. So be open to that. Be open to listening to other people. Be open to listening to some opinions from somebody else, because I think that will help you in the long run. Finally, you have the Page of Pentacles. So this is a new beginning and learning how to do something different, the student energy in the material world, in the physical world here. So this could talk about jobs. It can talk about where you're living, physical spaces. It can talk about towns that you live in. It can talk about your body. It can talk about health. So this is about learning something new about the physical world. So I do think that something in your perspective is holding you from being able to look at things from a new way in a clearer place in your physical life. And so I think that's where talking to other people might be really, really helpful this week in being able to move through things from a more clear-headed perspective. So be open to that. Be open to allowing yourself to think about things differently. Be open to allowing yourself to create a new moment for yourself, because I think the more that you can do that, the more that you open up a more positive position to be able to move forward from there. So anyway, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising signs, I hope that's a helpful reading. Go ahead and let me know either in the comments or in the chat if you're here live, if that resonates and you're a Scorpio. Please do check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. All three will help you understand where you're coming from a little bit better. If you have some multiple placements in the same signs, that's okay too. Those might help you figure things out too. So go ahead and look around all these videos. All these readings could be helpful for you in some way, because we all kind of have a blend of all of the signs. So, listen for what resonates and leave the rest, right? That's how these things work. And we're going to move on now. If you'd like a personal reading for me, they are available on my website. You can find information at www.junodrome.com. I would be happy to help you through your situation, whatever's going on. We can look at the cards together and figure it all out. All right, so let's move on. Kristen says, I swear everything in my personal reading taking place feels great about it. Hope you keep doing them. Yep, absolutely. And Layla says, I'm the final countdown. Yeah, you have like all the last three, like as your signs, right? That's funny. All right, let's move on. All right, so next up we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius, what can you expect for the week ahead? Well, interesting. This card has come up a lot, so let's talk about it right away. This is an important collective message for everybody, but it's particularly important for you, Sagittarius. This is a good week for thinking about the future and building strong foundations for your future. So this is about doing some work right now that will help you in the long run. You might not be at the end all be all stage of things, but this is about like planning and building and creating something that will help into the future. So maybe, the other thing about this card too is about community building. This is about meeting with like-minded people to create something for the future for everybody. So this could be a really powerful and important week for building things strong with your community, of creating connections and roots with your community members that maybe you don't know. Do you know your neighbors? And if you don't, can you connect with them more? Maybe this is a time for doing that, of like sharing food and sharing things so that in the future, in the long run, you create something powerful, or meeting like-minded people who are trying to build something similar to what you're trying to build, right? Community building and community creation, I think, will be very, very important for you in the long run. So start to think about it. Start to think about how you can build a strong support system and connection with other people this week, because the more that you can do that, the more that that's going to be really important for you. You got a bunch of wands. Wow, you have the king, the queen, and the page of wands. So this is almost an entire royal suite. You're just missing the knight. So with that in mind, this is going to be a really important week for manifestation work of flowing through your inspirations and allowing them to happen. You have some powerful manifestors here. The king and the queen of wands are both incredibly powerful manifestation tools. They're very creative. This could be an important creative week for you. With the page as well, though, this is kind of encouraging you to think about things a little bit differently as well. It's the student energy. So, this could be a good week of learning how to do things from a new way, of creating your dreams, of creating the things that you're really dreaming of and bringing into your life. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to think about things from a new way, of create something different for yourself and move forward from that place. So the more that you can do that, the more that I think that you're going to be in a positive place moving forward at the end of the week. So allow yourself to dream big this week and really think about things from whatever new perspectives you need, and build for the future, build for that future place. Finally, you have the Six of Cups, which is about happy memories from the past. So this could be a week of like finally implementing some childhood dreams into your life, of taking the steps necessary to start building that into your life a little bit more. But it can also mean having a childlike perspective as well. Remember, children are very curious. They ask why. They ask so many questions. And with that page of wands, this could be about asking the questions of how. Why do I need to do things this way? How can I do things differently? Really asking and being curious about your life. 11111 on the clock. Lots of ones. That's crazy. So that's a powerful message for you, Sagittarius. So just being open to that childlike curiosity, because the more that you can be curious about things, the more that you'll be able to ask the right questions, to think about things differently, and bring in all that you need to bring in the long run. So anyway, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising signs, I'm going to leave it there for you. Please do check out all three, your sun, moon, and rising. All three will help you triangulate what to expect for the week. We're going to move on now. If you want a private reading from me, they are available on the website. Check it out at junodrome.com, or go ahead and check the description. There's links in the description for that. We're going to move on, and let me know in the chat or in the comment section what you think about these readings. If you want to, you're always welcome. Your comments are always welcome. If you want to start a discussion, that's always welcome as well. I love doing that. I think the more that we can talk with each other, the better. So that's always an option as well. Let's see here. We're going to move on now to Capricorn. Let's move on. All right, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can you expect for the week? Well, pretty much every single pile has had some kind of new beginnings energy. So I think that this week is a powerful new beginning for a lot of us. We're getting close to the astrological new year. I don't think we're quite there yet, but by the end of the month, we'll be in, when we get to Aries season, that's the new year. So of astrology, there's so many new years, but that's where the astrology signs start over. But so maybe there's something to be said about that. I don't know, but there's new beginnings here for us. And so for you, there's a new beginning in the way that you think about things. This is a great week and opportunity, Capricorn, for you to really question, why do you think about things the way that you do? What are your assumptions? And are those assumptions true, or are they built on false pretenses? Where are your thoughts holding you back? And how can you open yourself up to thinking about things differently? Particularly if you're stuck in any kind of nihilistic or negative thought processes, how can you question those and change those to open yourself up to some more positivity in your life? Because it's wanting to come in here. There's an opportunity for that. This is also about learning new things. This can talk about like literally like going back to school, learning new things from that, learning a new skill. So, this is a great week for you to think about doing something different too, learning something new, learning something different, getting something new in the ideas spectrum into your mind here. You've got the 10 of Pentacles. So with the 10 of Pentacles, this is about, ultimate abundance. This could be a great week for focusing on stability, that there is a lot coming into your life this week to help you build in true great stability for yourself. And this is like, intergenerational wealth ultimately. So it's like big, big, big stable energy. It doesn't always have to mean something like that, but for this card to come into your reading, it really is letting you know that there are things coming into your life this week that could be tools for your future to help you in the long run, and like a really stable place of really building yourself into a positive place where you feel good about yourself and you feel good and positive about possibilities. So there's a real opportunity for that this week. So open yourself up to those opportunities as they come in, because they could be coming from places that you don't expect. So be open to that, and especially I think having that new thought process could be really helpful in being able to do that too. By thinking about things differently, you might start to see opportunities that could help build this stability into your life in the long run. And you have the 7 of Swords. So this one we've talked about a little bit today as well. With this one, it can talk about, it can talk about naysayers outside of you for sure. And that's important to remember too, of like, don't listen to the people who are trying to bring you down, and don't listen to people who don't know what your life is. Some people make assumptions about what they think that other people are doing or thinking or feeling, but it's just not true. There could be lies that people tell themselves, right? So there's that. But then on the other hand, though, it can talk about the lies we tell ourselves too. Where are you bringing yourself down? What are your negative thoughts, telling yourself that you can't do things or that things are impossible, that those sometimes come from the outside perspective. And so this is an important moment for you to really start questioning and asking yourself, like, what can I do to change the way that I'm feeling about myself? And how can I open myself up to the possibility that things could be a lot better than I'm telling myself, that I could be way more capable than I'm giving myself credit? And how can I, downplay some of that inner dialogue that's holding me back because it's just there to, to keep me down, that it could be self-sabotage energy keeping me down instead of actually, building the things that I need to build myself back up again, right? Finally, you have the King of Cups. So with this card, he's a very powerfully compassionate person. And I think that you're being encouraged to share some real compassion with yourself this week, to share that emotional connection and, to be comfortable in your emotions, even the challenging ones, and give yourself the time and the space to feel all you need to feel, to be open to that, to be open to feeling from a sense of peace and justice within your own sense of self. And, give yourself all of the space and comfort you need to do that work, because the more that you can do that, the more that'll leave you feeling really good and really positive by the end of the week. So Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, that's my reading for you. I hope that it's helpful. Layla says, it has been a great program for my Sunday nights. That's all that I've been asking. Thank goodness. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm glad that things are good, all right, so let's move on. Next we've got who's up next? Aquarius. If you would like a private reading from me, they are available on my website. You can find that on junodrome.com or check out the description section. Also, there's way more content on this channel. Go ahead and watch, some of the long form content or the shorts for more readings. There's lots available. There's a huge archive from the past 5 years of readings too. So if you don't want to watch some of the more recent stuff, they're all timeless readings. Every reading I've ever done is a timeless reading, which means it's whenever you find it, it's when it's meant for you. So you could go ahead and, sometimes what I'll do is just kind of like scroll automatically, and just kind of like stop at one spot, and then whatever reading it's on, like, okay, that's the one I need, things like that. So, go ahead and do that. There's some playlists with different categories as well. So, if you just want to watch a yes or no video, or you just want to watch a nature video, or just any random pick a card reading, they're all organized, and getting more organized as I go along. So, all right, let's move on now. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising signs. What's happening for you this week? Well, lots of powerful energy. Let's see. First up, you got the devil card. Let's get that out of the way. That's come up a couple times today, actually. So maybe it's part of our collective energy. This is about the bad habits. This is about the things holding us back. And you know what? A lot of times the things holding us back are ourselves. So what are you doing and saying to yourself and falling through within you that is something that you're not really, it's not the best for you, right? You have free will in life. We can make whatever choices we want. And because of that, sometimes we make choices that maybe are not the best choices for us. And that's okay sometimes, like even if you do make that kind of choice, it's important to remember that there's never something irredeemable, right? Like you can always come back from stuff, even the worst things that are possible from humanity. I do think we can come back a little bit from, not saying that that's happening to you right now, but it's just important. This card can be a card of extremes. Sometimes it's really light, bad habits can be anything from not getting enough sleep to, doing substances, to eating too much, to whatever, lots of different types of bad habits out there. So, the thing about this card though, too, is like, it's usually depicted as people who are tied to the devil, but they're tied so loosely that they can walk away anytime they want. So, Kristen says we can start over every day. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And so it's just important to remember, you don't have to fall for those, but you might feel a little bit tempted this week, so that's important to keep in mind. But ultimately, sometimes too our bad habits are coming in from places that we're trying to avoid things too, so I would say try not to be avoidant this week, even if you're dealing with powerful, strong emotions. Aquarius, this is the grief card. The thing about that is, this could talk about a lot of different powerful emotions. Grief is a challenging one to go through, so if you are grieving something, that's something to keep in mind. Obviously that's not everybody here, but if you are, give yourself all of the space and the comfort to feel that. Don't try to mask your feelings with something. Let yourself feel it, because the sooner that you can let the emotions flow through you and to move through them, you'll be able to heal from that kind of stuff and be able to be in a more positive place in the long run. Whereas if you just try to mask things, then you always have it, and you're always blocking until you allow yourself to move through it, right? So the sooner that you can move through challenging emotions, the sooner you get to the other end of it, and it's not easy, but it's worth it in the long run to feel all that you need to feel, even the most challenging things. And I think that that's going to be really important for you. And I think that you got the Tower card here too. So I think that it's sort of the thing is like, even if you feel tempted to hide from certain things, I don't think in the long run you'll be able to do that with that Tower card, because this is about, big change. It can be cataclysmic change sometimes, but not always like horrible. But it can be a bit of a scary card, because it means that like everything is being shaken, that everything's being shaken down to the foundations, because things might be built up on sand. And so if you're feeling, things in your life falling apart, they might be falling apart because they need to, right? And so let yourself try to find some kind of stable place to be in it. But, if things are falling away, you got to let them, right? Because maybe something more important and something more stable or better for you or whatever is sitting and waiting on the other end. And this might be a moment for you to allow yourself to get to that place on the other end of it, right? You have the Page of Swords. So this is about learning how to think about things differently, which I think is really, really important for you. So let yourself think about everything that you need to, maybe do some journaling exercises this week could be important, and let yourself, go through all that you need to go through. Let the things that are want to leave, let them go, let them fall away, because the more that you try to cling to certain things, I think that it's gonna end up not being stable in the long run. So come to a place of center within yourself, and let this be an opportunity for you to come back into you. Let things flow wherever they're going to flow, and come to the center. The more that you can do that this week, I think you'll leave the week feeling really secure on the other end of it, even though things are kind of scary. Ultimately, you have this fast, swift moving action. So, there could be a lot of speed going on as well. It could be a very fast change. Fast changing energy could be scary. But like I said, if you just allow yourself to feel all you need to feel and flow through everything you need to flow through, I think that by the other end, you'll feel a lot more secure and a lot more ready and able to let in new things and do things differently. So anyway, Aquarius, I hope that was helpful. Layla says, yes, going through the pain is the only way of healing it. Yep, I think so too. Absolutely. If you try to pretend like things aren't happening, then you're just going to keep being in that masked energy. And honestly, I think sometimes that's where depression can come from. It can come from this sort of numbness of not knowing what's what, because we've been blocking ourselves from feeling a lot of different things, so we can't even feel or see anything anymore, right? That can be really intense. Okay, we're gonna move on now. Layla says very. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising signs. What can my Pisces expect this week? Well, let's get it out of the way. You got the Tower as well. That's interesting. Aquarius just got this. So there could be some big changes going on. There's new beginnings happening for everybody this week. That was one of the big, powerful collective messages we've gotten so far. Most piles have gotten some kind of new beginning energy. So for you, this is about kind of endings, actually. The Tower card is an ending card, but it's about like big change, big movement, and it's happening outside of yourself. So if you find yourself running into a lot of different changes and things going on in your life, just roll with it. Roll with the changes happening on the external. Let it flow with it. Don't try to fight against the current, right? So if things are falling away or things are moving, just try to move with that movement, because if you can do that, you'll end up on the other side in a lot more stable place. Because ultimately, I think things are falling away in your life on purpose and in an important way, because you have the 10 of Wands, which means about overworking, overburden, holding too many things, trying to do too many things. So I think that some of these are going to be falling away from your life this week because you're ready to let them go. So let go whatever is not stable, right? Whatever is flying away, just let it go, because you're going to feel so much better on the other end of it if you just let things float away that need to, right? Because ultimately you have the Victory card here. So this is a really good card. It's really powerful. It's like this real celebratory energy. So I think by the other end of this, it's just like letting the things in your life that are ready to go leave. They're ready to go. Let them leave. You're flowing towards calmer waters with this card here, the 7 of Swords. So, you're flowing into a new and a better, brighter path. And it might seem like challenging to do that, to let yourself go in that direction. But I think if you just allow it to happen, you're going to enter the other end of things feeling a lot more secure and feeling like really, really, really much more positive, because ultimately I think what you're really losing, what's really leaving, is this, this naysayer energy from the outside world. So what you're losing is like this perspective of what you should be doing, the shoulds and the musts that are coming not from you, so let all those things go, let the people go, let the situations go that want to go, because ultimately on the other end of it, you're going to be feeling way lighter and way more secure and way more like you can move forward from a really positive place. Now, it might be a crazy bumpy ride as that happens, with a Tower card. So just flow with it, know that there's another end. There is something on the other side of it. So just let yourself flow through it. Yeah. Kristen says, let it go. I felt this so much. Yeah, honestly, I think this is a big, big week for Pisces to be in the surrender energy. Surrender. Let yourself surrender to what's happening. Let yourself surrender the things that are ready to go, because on the other end of it, if you cling too tight, you might get thrown with it, right? But if you flow with it, you let things go, you let it move. I think that will really help. Layla says, be the flow. Yeah, this is a real week for Pisces to be in the flow energy. And that makes sense, as a water sign. Really be in your element, in that flowing energy, and run with it. So anyway, Pisces, that's my reading for you. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. All three will help you connect in with what to expect. We've got one more collective reading, and then I might call it a day because it's been a bit of a longer reading today. So we'll see where we get with it. And yeah, that should be good. All right. Layla says, "Oh, I feel so good in my season." All right, yeah, and we are right. We're in Pisces season right now, so yeah, be in the flow, Pisces. This is your moment for sure. We're shining in it. Okay, collective. What do we all need to know this week? Before I get into the cards, some of the biggest repeats from the week were new beginnings energy. The Fool came out a ton. Whoops. The Fool came out a ton. Lots of aces, lots of pages. So this is a really big and important week for trying something different, for doing something new. So if you feel inspired to do something different and do something new this week, this is the week for it. Let yourself do it. Let yourself think about things differently. Let yourself move in whatever direction you need. This is a great week for that. Now we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is about putting in hard work. And it talks about as well. Actually, wait, no, this one's the Eight. Yeah, Eight of Pentacles. It is still about putting in hard work. This one is about, keeping at it. It can be really monotonous sometimes to do the little work, to do the busy work, to do the things we know we need to do every day, but are monotonous and trying on us and don't make us feel good. But the more that you can keep putting that in there, putting in the work, putting in the time, doing it up, the more that I think ultimately it's going to let you feel really good on the other end. So be open to it. Right. We got the Five of Swords, which hasn't come out yet, but is interesting. The Seven of Swords came out a lot. The fives and the sevens are kind of similar. This one though, this one's usually about like, it means different things. Sometimes it can talk about being stabbed in the back. I mean, look at literally that's happening here. So, be careful about other people this week on a certain level. But I feel like that particular kind of energy isn't always helpful, because like if you're flowing in the right way, you can catch people. I don't think it's always necessarily great to be like thinking everyone's out there to get you, which sometimes the traditional meanings of the tarot can feel that way. And I don't think that's what this is about. This card can also talk about, it can talk about going it alone sometimes, or going against the grain as well. That this is a person who's not afraid to go out and do something differently, and that sometimes that can be really challenging and isolating. To know that what you want, what you need, and sometimes you got to break away from other people, and that can be isolating and challenging and kind of hard. And so if that's kind of something that you're going through right now, just know that there are like-minded people on the other side as well, and that you can find real community who mean something to you, instead of being in these relationships that maybe are transactional, or maybe are that aren't real, or that exist only to further someone else's ego, or any of those kind of relationships. Sometimes this talks about walking away from those kinds of people, and even though it's challenging because they might be your whole community, of understanding that there are so many better people out there for you, and there are like-minded people who are really want to help you. So be open to connecting in with some people like that. I'm getting the 80s song Saved by Zero. I think it's by The Fix. Also could be completely wrong. Okay, interesting. I'm sure I've heard that song, but I'm not entirely sure what that one's like. But maybe check that out. So for the community, you can check out Kristen. Kristen mentioned Saved by Zero by The Fix or something like that. Go ahead and Google that. That could be some important messages in the lyrics of that song. So go ahead and check that out. We got the Three of the Three of Cups here. No, Three of Swords. I always want to say Three of Hearts because it's like the same energy for some reason. Three of Swords, it talks about this kind of like heartbreak energy, actually, is what it is, and challenging emotions. So challenging emotions in general did come up a bunch in some of these readings. So I think it's important this week, if you're met with challenging emotions, to really be compassionate and kind to yourself, and especially if you're dealing with other people in community that aren't really great for you and you have to break away from some of that to feel better, feel all of your feelings. That's been a big theme for all of these readings of, feeling all the emotions you need to feel, giving yourself the time and the space to move through any kind of challenges or difficulty. The more that you can do that, the more that you'll come to the other end feeling much safer, feeling much better, and feeling as though, that things could be really, really great for you. Finally, we've got the King of Swords energy. So with this King of Swords, this is about being in a place of feeling really connected to your own personal analytical powers and analytical understanding. So, be really open-minded with yourself this week about clear analytical thinking. This is not a week for making decisions. It is important to be connected to your emotions and let your emotions flow through you. But this is saying maybe don't make emotional decisions this week. Be in your own analytical thinking too. So this is like, feel all you need to feel first. And then when you get to the other side of that, take some time to get into a more clear-headed perspective as you move forward. I think that if you can do that this week, I think you're going to be feeling a lot more secure, a lot more safer in yourself and in life, and that's going to help you move forward. So go ahead and be clear-headed thinking this week, and don't be afraid to question things too. He's a very deeply questioning thing. Question perspectives. There's so much false narratives going around right now. Question the media, question everybody, question me, question these tarot readings, question everything, right? Question TikTok, question YouTube videos, question the news, question the president, question everyone and everything, always. I think the more that we can be skeptical, the more that we can come to a clearer understanding of what's happening. And I think that this is a moment in time where we all need to be incredibly skeptical of everything. Question Reddit comments. Question, we don't know there's so many robots everywhere talking all over everything now. Like, who knows what's real and what's fake anymore? And, exactly. Layla says, never take anything at face value. I agree with that. I think now is an important time for that. It's one of the most important times for that. So really take some time for that. Not that you have to be scared of everything, but just, question the narratives going around, because there's a lot of different narratives buzzing that are not true, Kristen says, such a great message delivered in a kind and generous format. I tried to send a message before, but I don't think it went through. Question everything. Completely agree. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. Well, I got your message about the 80s song, but I don't know if I got anything else. But yeah, thank you so much, Kristen. And I agree. I think that, I think that that's a good spot to be, and a good spot to leave it this week. Just be skeptical, use your critical thinking. This is a very important moment for that. Don't let somebody else's opinion be your opinion. Yeah, you can agree with somebody, but question it, question everything, question all narratives, because there's so much buzzing around right now, and so many people are trying to get you to think the way that they do for power, right? So question it. You don't have to give anybody your own power, right? And you can be skeptical of even your most closest loved ones, right? And that doesn't mean you have to say no to everything, or like you don't have to agree with people. It's just like, question it. That's all. Question it first. Put that filter. Make sure you're filtering everything through your own personal skepticism a little bit first, right? All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm going to cut it a little bit early right now, so I'm not going to open the floor today for readings. But if you would like a private reading from me, they are available on my website. You can find information at www.junodrome.com, or feel free to find a link here in the description section. If you are watching this in post, in the description section are links to each one of the readings. Give me about 20 minutes or so to get the timestamps in there. I got to go do that now. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. Kristen and Layla, thanks for holding down the chat with me today. That was great. But we've had even more people in here. So for everybody who's tuned in, thank you. I really do appreciate all of your views and watches. Stick with the channel. I'm going to be starting back up our daily shorts again very shortly. So you can watch those again. I'm also going to be opening back up to some longer form readings as well. So you can find those on the channel as well. Layla says, thank you so much for the reading, JP. You're absolutely welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'll catch you all in the next one. So stay tuned to the channel. Plenty more content coming from Junodrome Intuitive Arts. I'm here for you. So if you ever have any ideas for the channel as well, anything you want to see from me, any readings specifically, any topics you want me to go in with, I'll be happy to do them. So let me know in comments, anywhere. And yeah, that's it for me. I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye. See ya.